Hello, everyone. Hello, community. I hope you are all doing well. We are back after a well and deserved break. I hope you enjoyed your Christmas and your New Year with the loved ones. And we are back with a great session today. As you know, there is a huge trend to AI, and definitely AI will be, if it's not yet, will be your best, I would say, your best work buddy in the near future. So definitely it's something that we need to embrace and learn and also adopt to our daily basis to help us be more productive and build better and more sophisticated stuff. Well, without further ado, I would like to introduce you to our speaker. Hi, Vukasin, how are you doing?
Hello, everyone. I'm great, Hugo. Thank you for having me on the show. It's great to be here today, and thanks everyone for joining us.
We definitely thank you very much for being here. It's not your first time contributing to the Cloud Launch and Learn group, and we really appreciate all the contributions you have done. Thank you very much in advance. For everyone, if you want, as usual, as you know, all questions, you can use the chat, share your questions, share your thoughts, any comments, and then essentially, if there is something that's it's relevant to the current content that Vukasin is presenting, I can maybe stop a bit and ask Vukasin the question, and he can
Sure.
answer. Otherwise, we just do the normal model about covering the questions at the end to just avoid interruptions, of course, so Vukasin can flow with the presentation. Feel free to also share what you are, if in case you are mixing the how can I say, the pleasures. So if you are enjoying some food, feel free to share some photo or share some tips about what you are eating. It can be good ideas for us to cook something. And also share where you are connecting from. We are always happy to learn more about you as well, and essentially be more human while we learn about, in this case, about AI. Okay. So without further ado, Vukasin, are you happy to just get started?
Sure.
Okay,
Let's
I'm
start.
going to just enable your screen, and the stage
Okay.
is all yours. I'll be in the
Uh,
background.
all right. So today, well, first something about me. If you don't know me, my name is Vukasin. I work as a solution architect. I'm focusing mostly on Azure and Microsoft server infrastructures. I love using PowerShell for automation, automating everything with PowerShell and DevOps. Uh, I had a chance to work on many different projects in the Microsoft world. I have about 20 active certifications from Microsoft, and I'm also Microsoft Most Valuable Professional for category Azure. In my personal life, I enjoy traveling. My family and I spent about 6 years traveling around as a digital nomads. And we never stayed anywhere in one place longer for than a couple of months. That changed. Kid has to go to school, so we are now settled down. So today's session is not something that I primarily focus on. I'm not an expert in AI or machine learning, but I find these tools really, really interesting. And in the past, like 20 plus years, I never found a technology that had such a big impact on productivity in such a short time. And I've been exploring these tools, using them in real jobs, in real scenarios. And today I'm just going to share with you one part of that journey. And it's a kind of introductory session to explain how you can start using OpenAI service on Azure, and also how to build a chatbot that can be used internally. Obviously, this chatbot, I will cover that a little bit later. It can be used for many different scenarios. Today, I prepared some demo and a scenario for a specific use case, which we are going to go through. And as I said, I'm not going to have too many slides. That was the only slide I have. And so let's jump into them immediately. If you have any questions, please ask. Hugo will show them here on the screen. So Azure OpenAI service is unfortunately still not available to general public. It requires registration, and it's currently available only to approved enterprise customers and partners. I applied to this as a Microsoft MVP, and I received this access sometime, well, almost a year ago now. And since then, I've been using it all the time. I built a couple of different solutions. I've been using it to increase my productivity, to complete many tasks. You can also go ahead and apply for access. It's basically a form where you will have to provide some information about yourself, about your tenant, and then you can be granted access. After that, it becomes simple. You just have to create different resources. And I did not prepare a slide for this, but maybe just for the beginning, often I'm being asked about this very often. There is a confusion between company OpenAI and Azure OpenAI service. Why is that the same name? And the explanation for this is really simple. Microsoft did not, let's say, build their own AI service from scratch, but they heavily invested, and we're talking about like 10 plus billions of dollars in the company OpenAI, and helped them build their service. And they are responsible for ChatGPT, which is the one particular service that brought this AI chat to a wider public, and DALI as a text to image service. And this collaboration allowed Microsoft to integrate OpenAI services into their world, and now everything is built on top of that, as you probably heard many times in the last couple of months or year, is that everything now builds on it, and it's being integrated in everything. So that's just the differentiation between Azure OpenAI and OpenAI. So let's jump to our Azure portal. I hope you can see it. I zoomed in as much as I could. And I have here a simple demo resource group with some services. But before we jump there, let's talk about those services that we will be creating today. So one is OpenAI service. And obviously, you don't have this in your Azure as available service to create unless you are registered and approved. And then another service, let's take a look at this a little bit differently. Here is the full list of the services that we can use and create. And then there is another way of looking at that, is looking at the Azure OpenAI portal. And there are actually several portals for each individual service. I'm just going to show you the main ones. But basically, this can be like a starting point from where you can dig in and start creating and using these technologies. Again, this is still in a preview mode. It's not still not something to be fully relied on and used in production, but some of those services are very capable. And just to briefly scroll through, maybe that's better. No, it's not visible. It's better visible from here. Is to look around what services are offered and what chat models we can use. Basically, we have services for text to speech, speech to text, and text to image, and a chat service that we use and know, and some other Microsoft services are built on that. I'm focusing today on building a chatbot, and we do not have time to go through a general introduction to each of these services. So let's stick with just the one that we need. Now, what do we need to create to get that up and running? So first thing, we need to create Azure AI, OpenAI service. And I'm going to explain what that is for as soon as we start creating it. One thing to pay attention in the beginning is where are you creating your service? Obviously, as with everything else in Azure, you would like to create that in your region where the rest of your services are, which makes sense. But currently, not all functionalities are available in each Azure region. And here's a website that shows that a little bit more in depth. To get here, you can probably click a link from portal. I will show you where. But basically, what I wanted to show you that, for example, if you want to use a newer model, like, for example, ChatGPT-4, we have to create our service in, is this the correct site? We have to create our service in a specific region because that's not available everywhere. So if I created my service, as you can see, I already have created one here in East US. And if I try to use GPT-4, it will not be available because it's not available in that region. So we can take a look here. GPT-4 is available only in these regions for now. Another thing is that you also have to request it separately, but I did that. I have it approved, but still in the East US, I do not have that available. And so for this purpose of this demo, we are going to create another service, which will be, let's say, in Switzerland North. Why not? So Switzerland North and CLL OpenAI Switzerland. Pricing tier for now, we are going to say a 0. I will talk about pricing a little bit later because that's kind of confusing and it will make more sense once we have those services deployed so you can see what we are paying for. Okay. Just gonna leave everything default here for now because we don't need any of that. This takes a minute, and with Azure, oh, by the way, while we wait for that, there is another AI or functionality in Microsoft Azure. It's Azure Copilot. I also have that available in my tenant, and it's still not available, publicly available for everyone. But that's another use case for AI where you can chat with it here. And that works only with your Azure tenants, so it's not something that will be fully usable for what we are trying to build. Okay, so here's another AI service. And this now allows me to start building and using some tools to start working with it. We can go to Azure OpenAI Studio. I'm going to show that in a minute. And these are the functionalities and tools that are now available to me to use with this service. Now, if I created it again in a different location, for example, North US, there is no DALL-E there, or at least it was not there recently. Things keep changing all the time. But the comparison is that in the East US, you can use DALL-E Playground to generate images. In North US, you can't, or West US. So that's the difference. And now I hope with our with our region in North Switzerland, we should have access to GPT-4. Now, today, we are going to focus on building a chatbot. Now, there are several different ways on how you can build a chatbot. And the scenario that we are covering today is for using it internally for your IT support team. I put that in a description of this session, so I want to stick with it. Originally, if you are trying to put a chatbot, for example, on your website to help different clients, you'll probably use a different service and not do it the way that we are going to do it today. So let's just, before we dig into building our own, let's take a look what are the other ways of how Microsoft allows you to create such a service. So originally, long time ago, there was this service Q&A Makers, and this is basically for making a question and answer database that you can access and search through. When you open it, you can see here this is going to be retired, and it was replaced by Azure AI Service for Language. So if we go back here, we can take a look at the language service, and I already have that created just to show you. And basically we are using a different service now, which you can configure to allow, for example, custom question answering. And this is really great. You can upload a bunch of data in a raw format, and this service will go through your data, create questions that you don't even know that you need to ask, and prepare answers to those questions. And then you can have like a knowledge base available to your employees, or, for example, to your customers. This is great, but that's not something that we are focused on today. And the reason is I want to go through more like a manual way for you to understand how these things work. But this is definitely something that can be used easily. Well, you can start using it in production. Another way of creating this is using bot service. Now, bot service is integration that allows you to build, let's say, like a public-facing bot that can help your customers. So this is the little one, that little guy that shows up here when you visit some websites. And again, this can be fully utilizing all ChatGPT functionalities, so it's able to reply and do complex analysis. It's able to lead or do the full-blown conversation with the customer, and has access to all of that knowledge. And you can also completely specify and customize it, so it only answers questions that you want it to answer, and so on. Again, really something really powerful that can be used and utilized on your public-facing website, let's say. But again, not something that fits our today's use case scenario. So without further ado, let's go back to our own. And what we are building today is basically a chat playground where we will create a deployment of ChatGPT or Azure OpenAI chat, and customize that chat, feed it our own custom data, and see how that can help your IT support team to do complex things in seconds, and then how we can publish it for them to be able to use it internally, or with some integration with some other apps, as, for example, Teams. So let's start with that. To create new deployment, now let's take a look here. We have option to ChatGPT-4. However, if I go back and we look at the other one, sorry, where that is, it's here. This one that I created in East US. and I try to do the same thing, there is no GPT-4. So that's why I had to create a new one in North Switzerland, one of those regions that are supported. Again, not something that you will probably do in your production environment, but for our demo purposes, GPT-4 is much more advanced than the 3.5, so that's what we are going to use. Now, this is the easy way of creating the deployment. I'm going to do it from here, but then we are going to look back at those resources that actually get created through this guide. I'm not... this is not my favorite way of doing things, just following some wizard and doing it. I like to create those things first, and I know what I'm creating, and I can select properties at a time. But for now, CLL support chat. All right. So what we get here now is, I'm just going to close this. We get our chat playground that we can customize and use. And this, as it is now, is a normal chat that works with the ChatGPT-4. There are some parameters and things that you can change, but it's already working and it's already functional. Chat, Copilot, something like, basically this is a Bing chat that you can open on your Bing website. This is it now, without any customization. You can be asking things that are not related to anything that you want. How to make coffee. It's going to work and reply using general knowledge of everything he knows. However, this is something that can be publicly accessible, and it's not really useful for our case scenario at this moment. So let's talk about our scenario of what we are doing and what is the goal for today. Finally, 30 minutes after we started, I'm getting to the I'm getting to the core. So what are we trying to achieve today? Easy. I created a fake company. Oh, actually, I can show you that here. I created a fake company called Cloud Launch and Learn Demo Company. And we are currently inventing things related to space. And the reason I did it this way is because I wanted to show you that this data is completely made up and it does not exist anywhere else. So we are going to feed it our own data, and the data that cannot be found anywhere, and it's going to be working with that data. So that's the reason for this demo. And there is a little website. We are a company. Here is the description. Here are some products that we offer, and here are some services that we offer. Now, those are completely made up things. As I said, they don't exist anywhere else. And we are going to teach our chat about our company, so it's related. And we are also going to feed some IT data to it. And for the IT data, I created, again, I used this chat actually to generate all of this data. So this is all fake. We have some AD authentication logs, so timestamp, user, computer, and status. We have some computer info, computer name, OS version, name, username, and department. We have firewall log, rule name, source port, destination port, action, and description. Some FAQ about our own services and products. So there is some configuration again, this does not exist, but I have my own IT documentation, and then I have here error CLL31, which is again made up, not something that any other ChatGPT model will know, because this is internal tool that we are developing and using. And here is the error description and some other non-related, like other related questions.
Vukasin, just quick one, sorry to interrupt. If you can zoom in a bit so people
Oh.
can just see the contents, because at the
Sorry.
moment you're just
Okay.
explaining the content you have, and it's hard to see.
Okay, so how can I zoom in? I do not have zoom
Probably
in tool
the settings on the display settings, but yeah.
Hold on, if I open this in a text document, not in a preview, okay, this works. So as I was showing, those are some logs that contain made up information. And this is just something that you will normally have in your IT department. For example, this was the computers, we have some servers. So in your IT department, you would normally have the list of the servers, their functionalities, basically your IT documentation. Again, this can be exported from a different location. But I'm just trying to show you that we have now the data that can be combined. And then the last one is VPN authentication log. And again, these are some VPN timestamp, user, location, and the status of their VPN connections. So imagine that you have some kind of log management in your environment where you save all of those logs from different systems, or you have a documentation like the previous one I showed about your, for example, computers or servers, where you opening in a different screen, where you keep all the information about your servers. So this is great if you have it. And what we are going to do now is that we are going to provide this information to our chat client. And I already did that to save some time. So if I go back here to my resource group, I have a storage account here. Storage account CLL data upload, and in there I have a container to which I uploaded all of these files. Again, those are the files that I just showed you. I uploaded them there, and this is the content of the website as well. So now let's go back to our OpenAI Studio. Not this one. Let's go back here. And first, what we have here in here is, as I said, the standard one, the classic one, and we can start optimizing it. As I mentioned before, we can use the parameters. We'll get back to that later. Then we have here a thing called system message, and this is the most important part. The system message, maybe there's some official explanation here. Is this still visible, or do I need to go zoom in a little bit more?
Let me just confirm here, just 1 second. Yeah, just if you can zoom in a bit, it would be good. Yeah, just one more time. Apologies for that. It's only because, especially some people that watch this recording later, you know what I mean?
I understand that.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so this should be better. So going back here to a system message, this is the place where we can change the behavior of our chat. Still, it's using the system data, the publicly accessible data. but we can change the functionality and its purpose, and we can teach our little chat here how to work with those services. So I'm just going to start typing. You are Cloud Launch and Learn Demo Company's internal IT support bot. So now we gave it some functionality. Your name is Cloudy. And now if I save this, this is going to reset the chat. You see new chat session started, and I can now ask it, what is your name? Now you can see that it's already working with the instruction I gave it, right? Every time new prompt starts, you need to ask the question. What is your name? So it's going to ask me what is my name, and because this is going to work with my support team, because this is going to work with my support team, then I know who are my team members, so we can simplify it like this. And then let's say when user writes the number representing the name, okay, does this make sense? So we now gave it instruction, and I'm just, obviously this is not something you will use, but I just want to show you how this actually works. So now if I start the new session again, it's going to follow my instructions. Right? Say 1. And this completely changed the behavior of this chat. Now, he does not know anything about our company yet. It only knows the information we provided here. But this place is basically the system message is the place not to really provide large chunks of information. This is the place where we want to edit the behavior and some specific examples of how it should reply to which situations. We can also change or edit the behavior. We can make it to be, let's say, grumpy or rude, or include like Easter eggs that if you ask a question, he randomly can, for example, say, no, I'm not going to answer unless you give me chocolate or something like that. So you can make it really like a different personality. For our purpose, that's not needed. But what we want to make sure is that it's always polite. So all interactions I don't know if I know how to write this word. Okay. Maintained now, I guess this is what I wrote is kind of like a default behavior, but we don't want it to like go out of that. And so, as you noticed before, I asked it about how to make coffee, right? That's okay, but I don't want my chatbot that is related to my IT support to answer that kind of questions. It's not needed. So what I'm going to tell is do not provide information that is IT. Okay, so now I'm instructing the bot to refuse those kind of questions and go back to the topic. One of course, other reason is that this chatting here generate cost, and we don't want people to be asking unnecessary questions. Another one is that we want to keep this chat related to the topic. Now, it can also happen. Okay, let's try this. How to make coffee. It should not answer the question now. Okay, and the answer is as expected, politely refusing and asking to stick to the topic. But as you saw before, that question was answered as normally. Now, another thing that we can do here is that user will probably run in a situation when this bot is not going to be able to answer the question. For example, something related to the product we're supporting, or something in general. So we can say, for example, and we all know that those bots can hallucinate sometime. They can start making up things. And the way how to optimize the creativity and strict and correct, always correct question is by changing these parameters. The way how to do that is to change temperature or top P. And first of all, these two settings should not be combined, both of them. You should just address one or the another. And one thing is the randomnesses. For example, if you ask it how to make coffee, if this is not random, it will basically give you the same exact result every single time, especially if that's a question that is related to your own data. But if you increase that, then the point of the answer should be the same, but the answer itself can be retrieved or written differently by using different wordings, but the technical part of it should be the same. And then top P, again, that's another way of achieving the same thing. So what I have here is for now not related to what we need. So I'm just keeping the default values, and you will see that those will start moving up and down the more we use it. So let's say to avoid answering or making up questions, let's say, for example, do not give opinions if you're not sure. If you cannot find an answer, I'm not gonna fix my I'm gonna fix it. What do I have here? Opinions. So right now, if I ask something and it does not know how to answer, it's gonna say, okay, ask your colleague, basically. All right. So this is now the basic configuration of our chatbot. We did not give it any specific examples or let's say instructions, and it does not know anything about us as of yet. But it does have some instructions on how to behave and how should answer to some of the questions. Now, again, it does not know anything about our company. And one way of doing it is, or teaching it, is to bring your own data. The great thing about Azure OpenAI comparing to your normal ChatGPT is that all of this data is processed only here within your Azure tenant, and it's not leaving the gates of your Azure tenant. It's not being shared with Microsoft or OpenAI. And it allows you to make this fully functional solution to be used within your company for your own purposes. I like that idea very much, and I'm going to show you some things on how you can do it. So first thing, we have to select the source. Unfortunately, you can only have one source. So for example, I can go say URL address, I can provide my website, and then it's going to learn everything about the company. But again, this is only publicly known information, and that's not enough for me. So we are not going to use that option. Another option is to upload files. It's going to end up using uploading them. It's going to end up uploading those files to your storage account. Another way is to use blob storage, which we already have, or you can use Azure AI Search. We are going to use combination of those two. I will explain why. But for now, let's go to Azure Blob Storage. Obviously, it's going to ask me for my storage account, going to ask for a container, and and the search service. And I said that we are going to use a combination of those two. And the reason is that it's going to ask me to create Azure Search Service. So now let's take a step back and explain what that search service is. As with the cognitive services, you have a search service as a part of the Azure OpenAI, which allows you to index and go through your files. Let's make that simple as that. And then that data will be read and understood, and that information needs to be saved somewhere, and that action needs to happen, let's say, multiple times or as often as you need. So that's why we are going to use this Azure Search Service. I'm not trying to confuse you now with a lot of different services, so I'm just gonna keep it simple as that. As I said, this is the introduction, but if you have any other questions on how to optimize the search index and stuff like that, please let me know. I spend a lot of time working with the search, so if you have any questions, shoot them now or send them to me later after this. And now we are creating search index page. And if we already did all of that, we could just go here and use AI search and select that, but we don't have that ready. And I did not want to pre-create it, so we are going to create it here now. Allow search index. Index schedule. Since we have a data in our blob storage, this is the data that can change, right? This is the data that you can upload, keep uploading. So you don't want it to be indexed once. You want that to happen regularly. You will probably use daily because you are not changing your IT infrastructure more than, like, let's say, daily. For our purposes, I'm just going to say hourly. And now what this is going to do, it's going to scan for the files in my Azure storage, and it's going to index those files, going to read them. You probably noticed that I only have like text files. Multiple file formats are supported. You can use MD files, PDFs, Word documents, text, HTML. Oh, I also have actually HTML. You can use those. We are working with the text here. So that's what he's looking for. And it says here it found 9 files. It's now going to process them and index them. What products are offered by CLL demo company? Okay, that is done. And now it should have knowledge about my company. We went through what was here. These are the IT things, and this was the content of the website. So I have index page about the company, I have products, and I have services. So now if I ask that question, it should be able to answer that with confidence. Right. So we are offering Astro Harvest, Nebula Navigator, right? Something that does not exist. What services are offered by CLL? So again, this is a different page. It's now proving that it's read my data and it's able to react upon it, which is great. Which is something that if you have this internally, you want it to have a knowledge. Now this is okay. Let's do this now. Let's do a little. Give it a specific instruction now. Let's say if someone asks you about this service, do not attempt to answer the question and reply that service is supported by support company CLL external info@cllexternal.maildemo.org. Now I'm giving it specific instruction how to reply to a specific type of question, which is great, which is the real use case scenario that you will have for your own products. This can be do not answer the question, as I'm saying now, or it can be instruct user to do this specific thing. So now, how can I trouble if it gets that instruction correctly? It's telling me that it did not find anything. Did I save this? Okay. I don't know, probably was a little bit faster than it should be. So it's saying now that the answer that I gave it, but it did not reply word for word, but it made up its own sentence. So this is definitely a way that we can utilize this system message and give it examples on how to answer specific questions. Okay. But still, since we have this, we can still ask how to upgrade Windows 10 to 11. We can still ask those publicly available questions and get the answers to the things that are not in our knowledge base, that we do not have defined here or anywhere in our documents. However, what I have defined in my document, and I've shared that before, I was showing the file, is if I say I have an error message CLL31. If you Google that, you might find something, but I did combine that here in my document explaining how to troubleshoot step by step that specific error message CLL31, Cloud Launch Alert 31. And if he asks that question, he's going to read the document and answer to me. Now, think about this as building a knowledge base where you will include your own internal how-to guides, how to do specific things in your internal systems. And then you give this knowledge base to your users, and they can easily and simply get this information. Okay, we're running out of time a little bit, so let's go back. Let's go to interesting stuff. This is now still reading existing the document, which you can use by searching the Word document and find the same information. This is not as that much useful. But as you remember, I uploaded information about the users, and about servers. So what is the name of my domain controller? Right? Again, if you have a documentation, you can go and search into that documentation, or you can write a PowerShell script that will do that for you. But you cannot ask it in a simple language and get the answer. And if you look here at the reference, he looked at server's text file, which is a CSV file, and he found out that this computer and some other computer have domain controller in the description, and it got this information, which is amazing that you can ask it in a simple way. And of course, this information can change. So you can say, write me a PowerShell script that will get the list of all AD computers, save it to file, and upload that file to Azure storage account. I did not specify the storage account name and so on, but I did ask for it. And now it's going to give me a script that I can put the information like, I don't know, file name and storage account and container name. And then I can make that script run as a scheduled task. And I will have up-to-date list of my servers in my storage account. And then every time I ask a question like I just asked, it's going to give me up-to-date answer. And no coding needed, asking in a simple language. Another thing that we can also do manually is to say, give me the list of server OS by server version. Again, I can go and read the server list, sorted, write a PowerShell script, write a query, write something like that. Oh, I didn't say group. Okay. Give me the count of servers sorted by OS version. I can obviously do that in a different ways, but I cannot simply ask any other tool in a simple language to get this information. And for me, this is very useful and it's amazing. Plus, it applies all the context from everything else. So right now I'm getting all the servers by number and the server names. I can also say what servers I need to what servers are out of support and I need to upgrade. Right? Simple question that comes to your mind, and you have a chat assistant here that can answer it for you based on your own data, and it should realize that 2003 is out of support. And it did, and it gave me the answer I looked for. Now, let's take a look at those logs. I have several logs here that I showed you. we have a VPN authentication log and we have AD authentication log. So I'm just going to quickly take a look at some username. So let's say here S Martinez. What computer belongs to S Martinez? Right. What is the IP address of computer that belongs to S Martinez? Right. So this is now a combination of two, and it might not reply correctly, but it's a combination of two files. Because one is AD log, to which it logs only that S Martinez logged in into this specific computer. And then another file is a computers.txt, which contains the computer name and the computer's IP address. So what I need to instruct here is to say what combine computers and AD authentication by computer name and find out what is the IP of computer that was used by S Martinez. Again, something that I can do, but something that is actually really difficult to find out and achieve. All right. And it worked. Now, if I want to combine, let's say, okay, let's do this. Let's do the similar thing here as an instruction. That's the idea, is that I add that instruction here. So the user does not need to, the user who is asking question doesn't need to have this knowledge to combine what by which field, because then you need to know those files and makes everything more complicated. So instead of that, we can give it we can give it here and say, if you are asked about computers and user logins, always combine VPN logs and authentication logs. Oh, we have to say by timestamp and provide full combined information. You can also combine computers or servers file and match it by computer or server name. Now, the example I want to show you here is that if I ask, let's go back to the data I want to show you. So here in the VPN logs, we have information about user and location, but we don't have information about computer. In the authentication, AD authentication log, we have information about computer and user and a timestamp. So I can now combine this timestamp and to find out, for example, to which computer was used from New York. So let's try that. What computer was accessed from location New York? Right? And notice that I'm not giving it full instruction here. I pre-created that instruction here, so the user who is asking doesn't need to know that. And look at this beauty. We find out that the question was, which computer from New York? And this is combination of two different files. And he was easily able to find out the location New York at a specific timestamp by specific user, and then find out from another file at that time that user logged in into this computer. And it gave me this additional information. Give me info about computer CLL PC05. Let's do it. Okay, and now it's also going to combine two different files and give me the access. So you can see this beautiful combination. And again, something that it could be done manually, but you are giving this easy access to your user to ask those questions that they need to ask themselves. For example, what firewall rule I need to edit to block VPN, right? Imagine you have hundreds of firewall rules. You ask it a simple question, and it's going to look at the firewall rule configuration and find out what firewall rule. And it told me that the firewall rule is VPN tunnel. What users will be affected if I block VPN? So maybe this is asking too much, but logically it will look at the VPN. Okay, so it did not work. What users, list of users who VPN recently and will be affected if VPN is blocked. Okay, so you cannot really rely on it fully because I was expecting that it will look into the VPN log and find out the list of the users, but it did not. But you can work around by asking the question differently. Okay, so something's wrong now, maybe because I overcombine things. But you can see that this optimization of the chat is really useful, and it can be really easily configured according to your needs. And I think, Hugo, do we still have a little bit time? I know we are running over, but I wanted to show you one last thing.
Yeah, we have a couple of minutes, I believe. So yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
So,
yeah.
So that's it about the customization. I hope this was now interesting to you. And now, what to do with this? You cannot expect your users to go and log in into Azure OpenAI. You want to give them a little better, let's say, usability of this service, of this chat that you worked so hard on optimizing. So there are a couple of ways of doing that. One is, which you can do right now, is to deploy a web app. And this is going to create a web app. We're probably not going to have enough time to finish it, but let's just start doing it. No. North. And let's just start that. Okay, let's acknowledge everything. And basically you will get a web app. Doesn't matter. With a specific URL that will be behind your Azure AD authentication, so it cannot be accessed by anyone. You can enforce things like MFA and everything else, and that web application will be available to your users. It will just be a nice, clean web app with a chat screen on it, so they don't need to see any of this. They will just see basically the chat portion. And another way that I like doing is to integrate this with the Teams. That is a little bit trickier, and you need like Teams administrator and so on. But you can, by using Microsoft Guides and tools, integrate this chat with your Teams client, and then your users don't need to leave their environment. They can just go into Teams and have access to this. Again, this purpose of this is to have this internally only to your specific use case. And if you want to do it differently, publicly available, then you will probably use some other services. But the principle behind it of configuration of your chat, telling it how to do things and what to do and how to behave in specific situations, that is going to be similar. And that was the primary focus of my talk today. All right, that's it. We are cutting it a little bit short because I got too excited here with showing you different demos. This web app is not going to finish deploying for the next couple of minutes. Hugo, were there any questions that we need to answer?
We don't have questions, but probably we can give a minute or two for people to, if you didn't have a chance to just load your questions into the chat, you can do it. But definitely we have some comments about, for example, Vandit's just saying that this presentation came handy because he was just looking today about some Azure OpenAI chatbot videos, and also just, of course, thinking for this this session. So consequently, I extend the thanks to you, of course, Vukasin. I always I always fail to pronounce correctly your name. I apologize for that. Well, in the meantime, I would say let's just give a minute or two if you definitely want to share your questions, including I would extend, of course, see. Personally, my point of view here is, of course, as Vukasin said, this Azure OpenAI is really useful for you to just leverage these OpenAI models in an enterprise level. So that means the most important thing is I see a lot of times people using ChatGPT, which is great, but remember, don't forget that ChatGPT is public, okay, and you don't have control over the data that you are putting there. So I know some people usually tend to copy confidential data and put there to do some prompts. That's not good. So this is the kind of scenarios, for example, if you want to enable your teams to explore your enterprise data. So probably you need to use a service such as the Azure OpenAI that enables you to bring your data and then train the models and then just leverage the chatbot everywhere, including, as Vukasin said, on Microsoft Teams and so on. See, in terms of use case and scenarios, I would say, do you want to share some useful use case, Vukasin, that you probably worked currently on these, using these, or you
Sure,
envision to
sure.
work?
Sure. So this is as I mentioned before. This is great to work with your own data. In our scenario here, we uploaded our company data to work with. I also work as a consultant. I work with the different companies, different clients, and I would never even think about uploading that to public service as OpenAI. So keeping it safe here is a great advantage. And some use cases, well, analyzing any kind of documentation. For example, you get a very long document and you are looking into configuration to be able to work on your, let's say, on your project. And this thing is great at reading text and understanding text, so you can ask all different types of questions instead of going through and reading, like, I don't know, 100 pages document. You can carefully write your prompts to get exactly what you need, and then you can get that repetitive. You can create a tool that will, for example, go through a large number of documents and always give you the result in the same format, answer the same questions, and I guess that's and then that scenario can be used in different ways. Like if you are, I don't know, preparing, let's say, a job offer, job description. If you are preparing a new product to publish and so on, you can always apply the same principle, the same technology to analyze the data and give you the correct answers. Uh, writing scripts, not necessarily using this chat for that part, for the development part. This is more for like working with the data, but that integration is great, and then the integration with this, I don't know how, where this copilot is also great in the same scenario where you work, you use that intelligence on the data that you have. So this has access to your tenants, to your environment, same way as you have. And that proved to be very useful in a scenarios when you need to do like complex calculations or queries to get that out of the data you have.
Yeah, totally makes sense. See, the content indexing and the ability to search for content is definitely something really useful, and is one of the use case there. I actually, because it's funny that I delivered a few months ago or a couple of weeks ago a similar presentation as well about talking about Azure OpenAI. Well, AI nowadays, as you know, it's a hot topic. Everyone is talking about. I'm gonna share a useful link there. Just an FYI, if you are curious and you want to take this and continue the journey to learn about Azure OpenAI. So essentially, Microsoft provides some official GitHub repos that you can use to deploy some sample demos there. And this repo actually is really great because it gives you exactly that scenario of indexing contents from an organization, and then a fake organization, of course, and then providing you the ability to search and find quickly the content and give you the reference to the content. So what it means that if your organization has data all over the place, including SharePoint, including database, including in many different places, you can easily, including files, you can have, for example, if you have file shares, you can index those file shares as well. And then you don't need to spend traditionally what you would spend a lot of time trying to find the content where it is my content, or keep a complex structure to just organize your files in a way that you can find them easily. You can leverage this kind of chatbots that enable you to easily do a query, a prompt, and find your contents.
Yeah.
I see there, Vukasin, you want to show the chats.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. Yeah, thank you for that, Hugo. I'm just gonna, before I show this, I just want to go back one more, and maybe you can paste this somewhere. One more great repository of GitHub is this chat with your own data solution accelerator. And this is really powerful. This goes a little bit behind what I did, and this gives you option to index public websites. It gives you also that possibility to integrate with the teams, and that's also very well explained here. And this is basically a ready solution that you can go and say deploy to Azure. Where is the button here? That you can deploy, and you get ready solution that built from templates that you can customize and also learn on it. So this is called Chat with Your Data Solution Accelerator.
I just sent the link there in the chat anyway, just an FYI for everyone.
Okay. And now just going back to our website. So I did not customize my app, so it's Contoso, but basically you can see now this will be the user experience. They will have a website which is bound to AAD login. And you can see that it's using the customization that we did. So so it works with everything that we did, and it's giving users easy access to everything that we taught this chat. Good thing about this is that maybe you didn't notice that when I was doing it, I enabled chat history. So this is now being saved in a database. Again, that's another part of the billing. But this guy here does not have a chat history. So this will not preserve any history. So this is not the best way to keep using it. Where this one, every time you restart the chat, you can go back and show the chat history and see what you talked about and maybe get back to those answers that you already got before. So that's another very useful things from here. And also it's worth noticing that all the changes we make here, they will be accessible to those people using this web app instead. All right, I think we are at the end of the demo. Again, if there are any other questions, please reach out to us, reach in the comments, reach to me directly. I shared my contact info earlier, and I'm happy to help and answer any questions you have.
I'm just going to load there the link of Vukasin LinkedIn profile in the chat. So in case you want to connect, you can reach out to him using LinkedIn. Vukasin, thank you very much. Great session, as always. Definitely AI is evolving so fast and so quick. We have so many things to learn, but definitely the takeaway from these sessions is we need to learn, and the ones that learn and learn how to use these tools and learn how to improve their productivity and results using these tools are the ones that will, in my opinion, differentiate a bit from the remainings, because definitely AI came to impact positively, I believe, and some ways negatively as well, to be honest, but mostly positively, to all of us, so definitely we need to embrace it and learn. So keep an eye as well. Probably just before we wrap up, I just want to maybe drop here a quickly link. So Microsoft is also doing, just an FYI, is doing a Microsoft AI tour. Okay, so the idea is they are doing several events in different locations for people to attend in person, and also you can attend online as well and follow up on the announcements. But definitely they are sharing a lot of useful content, including, for example, I'm sure you are familiar with the concept of Copilot. You have Copilot everywhere. You have Copilot on Azure. You have Copilot on GitHub to help you code. You have Copilot on Windows as well to help you do your tasks on your Windows computer. So they are also sharing content about how you can build your custom Copilot. So in case in your company you want to build a Copilot to improve and empower your users to do stuff using Copilot, you can build your own Copilot as well. But anyway, if you want follow up, the link is there in the chat. You can open there and then just follow up on the events that are happening about this tour. It's coming as well soon, the global AI as well. So in case you want to follow these, that's another great community events. So you can also sign up for these. Let me just bring here the link. It's the link in the chat as well. I'm just going to show as well for those that can't access the chat. So globalai.community. So you can sign up for your. So you have many different communities organizing AI events locally and online, and probably in your local hometown, you may have a group organizing an in-person event, and you can just join, learn with people, connect, and just have fun while you are learning about AI. Okay. On my side, without further ado, thank you everyone for everyone attending the session today. For those watching offline, feel free to drop your message in the chat if you have any questions, and we'll reach out to Vukasin to just help out on this. Feel free to also use the link that we shared to connect with Vukasin, and in the meantime, have a great day and stay well. And
Thanks,
Vukasin, thank
Hugo.
you very much. I hope to
Thank
see
you.
you soon in the Cloud Launcher one, and thank you as always.
Thank you. Bye
Thank you. Bye
bye.
bye.